Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone to our Saturday Light of the Bhagavad program. Anybody attending for the first time? Okay. So we have this every Saturday, Sunday, the physical classes, and online is there every day of the week. So welcome. So we are, discussing Bhagavad Gita, the 4th chapter in a sequence. So that's how it's there. Just let me introduce myself, those who don't know me. So I've been associated with the movement since 2002. So almost 23 years into Bhakti. By profession, I'm a chartered accountant working in the professional world. This is something which I do over the weekends. So that's how it is. So we are discussing now the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Can you tell me what's the title of the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita? What's the title? So it's called Transcendental Knowledge. So, and we are discussing a very important part which is called as sacrifice. So from 25th verse to 33rd verse, we are going to discuss about sacrifice. Now I would like to, so my classes are typically more interactive. So that's not going to be a monologue. So what do you mean by sacrifice? Yeah, Yajna. What do you mean by that?
For the satisfaction of the Lord, not for own sake.
You have been studying. And okay. For the satisfaction of the Lord. Everybody, anybody else? You can say there is nothing right or wrong here. We are studying the Bhagavad Gita so that we implement in our lives. Anybody else? Sacrifice means fire. एक ने मेरे को पूछा था, that was a very interesting thing कि when I was new in the movement कि बोलते आप लोग कुछ वो यज्ञ नहीं करते बड़े बड़े. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said कि for us the chanting of the holy names is the yajna. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this I am talking 20 years back. तब क्या होता था कि we never had social media, so इतना अच्छा coverage नहीं होता था. But if you see, do the ingredients in the yajna, do we get of good quality? Yes, no? Sure. मिल्क का क्वालिटी कैसा होता है बॉम्बे में? सॉरी, या प्लीज से फील फ्री. कुछ नहीं है इसमें. हाँ, या इट्स ऑल कंटामिनेटेड, राइट? व्हेन योर इंग्रेडिएंट्स आर नॉट प्योर, तो आपका सैक्रिफाइस कैसे होगा? दैट्स व्हाई इन द कलयुग नाउ एज एंड मोर घी का अवेयरनेस हो गया कि इट्स नॉट कंटामिनेटेड घी दैट यू गेट. सो हाउ कैन योर इंग्रेडिएंट्स सैक्रिफाइस में जो यज्ञ में डालते हो वो कैसे प्योर होगा? सो दैट्स व्हाई यू हैव दिस चैंटिंग ऑफ द होली नेम्स, बिकॉज फॉर अस दैट इज द मेजर थिंग. And that's how you get connected. So sacrifice is yajna, and for us the main yajna is Sankirtan yajna, Hare Krishna Mahamantras. So that is the main yajna, which people find it very intriguing at the start. उस समय मेरे को भी लगता था, but then as and when the social media में awareness बढ़ा है, you can understand कि घी का quality कैसा होता है आजकल. And it's getting worse. It's not getting better. So that's the thing. So we are going to discuss the 26th verse of the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which talks about sacrifice. So just let me start with some prayers. Om Agyana Tirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshunam Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaः. Namo Vishnupadaya Keshav Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunivadi Paste Sadesa Tarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So just recite this verse. Shrota Adni Indriyani Anye Samyana Agnisu Juvati Shabdin Visayan Anya Indriya Agnisu Juvati. Shrota Adni, such as the hearing process. Indriyani, senses. Anye, others. Samyana, of restraint. Agnisu, in the fires. Juvati, offer. Shabda Adin, sound vibration. Visayan, objects of sense gratification. Anye, others. Indriya, of the sense organs. Agnisu, in the fires. Juvati, they sacrifice. So translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Some, the unadulterated brahmacharis sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control, and others, the regulated householders, sacrifice the objects of the senses in the fire of the senses. Before I read the purport, now for the new ones, what is the purpose of human life? A question to everybody, what is the purpose of human life? Anybody? Purpose of human life? Yes, Mangaji. Why?
We belong there.
Okay. Okay. So we are originally part and parcel of Krishna. So we are actually a spirit soul. We are not this body. So in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Dehino Asmin Yathade, your body keeps on changing. From boyhood to youth, youth to old age. We have a mannequin also there where it shows the whole thing. So that is why the purpose of human life is to find what is our purpose. Because between us and animals we do the four things: eating, sleeping, mating and defending. ये चारों चीजें animals also do and humans also do. But there is a difference between us and the animals. Can anybody tell me? Intelligence. Consciousness. Okay. Now just start with intelligence. Okay. Does a tiger has intelligence? He knows whom to attack, whom not to attack. He will not eat grass. So intelligence है degree different करेगा. He can't be a rocket scientist, right? Tiger cannot invent, but he has some amount of intelligence. Second was what? Sorry, consciousness is there in every living entity. So another question: how do you know there is consciousness? How do you know कि किसी चीज में consciousness है? Awareness. Come on, think. It's a very, because this is very important fundamentals of bhakti, you know, when you are studying this process. That's why Bhakti Yoga was called by Prabhupada as science. So anything that grows. इंडिया के एक फेमस साइंटिस्ट का कंट्रीब्यूशन था कि प्लांट हैज लाइफ. एनीबॉडी रिमेंबर्स दैट साइंटिस्ट? जगदीश बोस. व्हाई? बिकॉज इट ग्रोज. सो दैट्स व्हाई कॉन्शियसनेस इज देयर जो भी ग्रो करता है. सो इफ यू जस्ट डू अ क्वेश्चन, हाउ मेनी लिविंग एंटिटीज देयर आर इन योर बॉडी? कैन एनीबॉडी काउंट? कि बॉडी के अंदर बैक्टीरिया होगा, वायरसेस हो गए, सो दे आर ऑल कॉन्शियस बिकॉज दे आर ग्रोइंग. Right? Agree, disagree? Yeah, so that's why consciousness. So coming to the point, what is difference between humans and animals? एक बहुत बड़ा fundamental difference है. I'll explain you spiritually also and materially, in the sense material examples of it. And it's a very important thing to know. Come on, anybody?
Human can speak.
Huh?
Human can speak.
But the animals can do also. There is something called as dog calling. You know, dogs communicate with animals communicate. जैसे I don't know if you have been to a tiger reserve, तो जैसे ही tiger आता है तो you know you have the calling that starts between monkeys, deers and everybody. Yeah?
Brains.
Huh?
Brains. Humans have brains and animals.
Brains. So I mean, there's a brain that is eaten of a animal also in the world.
Animals do not have karmic reactions.
नहीं, karmic है. I'll come to that. But they have a karmic reaction also. Okay, the power of choice. The biggest thing difference between animals and us is choice. Humans can overeat. Animals normally do they overeat? Unless pet dog हो और बहुत feed किया जाए, you get fatty dogs. देखा है, but otherwise we have a choice. What to do, what not to do. Agree, disagree? The biggest difference is choice. Whether you want to be a more like them gross level पे vegetarian, non-vegetarian, you have a choice. Animals नहीं होता है. Tiger can eat only say non-veg food in that sense, or say elephants will eat only veg food. Most of the cases. So that's where we have the power of choice. And why this is given to us, so that we can go back home, back to Godhead. Because you know animals can enjoy much better senses than us, theoretically. But what we have been given is power of choice. And why we have been given this power of choice? So that you can go back. And now karmically you're second. The second thing is animal body when you get, you can't do anything else. You just have to, you're suffering your karmic reaction. So even in the famous story of Jada Bharat, okay, there's a story of a king. So he was a king and then he went to the forest. And what he did was, he wanted to, spend his life on spiritual activities. And he started doing, sacrifices and doing his tapasya. फिर क्या होता है कि एक deer gives a, what do you say, birth to a baby deer. And he gets attached to it. Slowly he gets attached to it. And he gets so much attached कि वो अपने spiritual activities at के mind was focused on the deer, कि where he is going, is he eating, whatever he is doing. And that deer left one day. When he became big, he left one day. So he lost in his thoughts only. And in the Bhagavad Gita it says, whatever thoughts you have at the end of your life, that birth you get. So he fell from, I think so, a hill. And then he took a birth as a deer in the next life. And then in that deer life, he had to take a full karmic reaction. So he couldn't do much. But because he had done previously yoga practice, so in his third life, he became a servant of a king. And then he became an elevated devotee. So it took 3 lifetimes to get out of the cycle of birth and death. So that's the thing. So animal life, as you were saying, Prabhuji, you only can suffer the karmic reaction. If you are a cow, if whatever birth you have. So there is in the Bhagavatam for old devotees, कि 3 चीज से you become a human being. That's also defined. From 3 animal species you become a human being. Anybody can remember? Anybody?
First one is cow.
Cow.
Tiger.
Tiger.
Dog.
No.
Monkey.
Monkey. So 3. So इतना define किया गया कि 3 births से you become actually a human being. So that is also well defined. So karmically in animal life you suffer. That's the whole point it was there. So only human life is there where you actually can use your intelligence to go to higher planetary systems, go back to Godhead, or to go to lower planetary systems. So here you have a choice. And choice होती है तो क्या problem होता है? कभी घर पे बैठ के आपने डिसाइड किया एक दिन आपके पास पूरा फ्री हो एंड यू ऑल्सो डू 10 थिंग्स, एक काम भी नहीं होता है. हुआ है ऐसा किसी के साथ? हाँ, when you absolutely free, बोला ये काम करेंगे, नहीं होता है. Why? Because choice मिल जाती है तो क्या होता है? Mind plays a havoc, right? और टीवी सर्फिंग में ऐसा होता है कि कभी भी चॉइसेस हो गए ना. इफ यू हैव नोन आई वाज डिस्कसिंग विद माय फ्रेंड्स कि कुछ नहीं पता है क्या वॉच करना है तो यू कीप बिंजिंग. And I've seen in flights में especially वो TV entertainment होता है, keep binging. You see people binging their screens till the time they land and they watch half of everything. So that's what happened कि choice होता है तो then your mind goes for a toss, and for that you need knowledge. So that's why Bhagavad Gita, they say if you buy a refrigerator or an air conditioner नया वाला, so you require a manual. Similarly for this human life, the manual recommended is Bhagavad Gita, and that's why it's a very important book. It's not a religious book in that sense, but it talks about surrendering to Krishna. But इस book में I think so many of have read, Hindu word कभी use हुआ है इस book में? Not even once. It's talking about how to live your life. So this chapter what we are discussing is about sacrifice and why sacrifice and sense control is necessary. And it was very interesting, एक interview में I just saw that. I'm giving a material example because sacrifice you are doing every day, but you have to do in align with the scriptures if you want to go back to Godhead. So the first question is कितने लोगों को वापस जाना है? Back to Godhead. Okay, so that's our purpose of studying the Bhagavad Gita, कि हमको जाना है वापस, and we know कि everything here is temporary. Do you agree? Everything here is temporary. कुछ permanent है? Anything happen to anybody, that's something which we don't know. और कोविड में सबको एग्जाम्पल दे दिया है. Agree, disagree? कोविड में you never know what's going to happen. So that's it. And unfortunately अभी एक plane crash हुआ था, which just life ended for all the passengers, and you don't know what happened to them. So that's how it is. So that's why you got to go out of this cycle of birth and death, and that's why for that you need sacrifice. So interestingly एक material example है, but it's a very interesting example. Sports person में क्या होता है कि you actually see them living a more it's very apparent. So there were 2 cricketers, Indian cricketers, they were mentored by Yuvraj Singh. So Yuvraj Singh said कि they were all into sense enjoyment in that sense. उन लोग का शेड्यूल चेंज कर दिया कि you have to go come to the cricket practice at 5 o'clock and you started performing well. So similarly for devotional life, there are so many rules and regulations. If you come to the temple, you see there are so many rules and regulations. For what purpose? So that you can go back home, back to Godhead. And that helps you in your bhakti. तो आप कोई भी फील्ड में ले लो, इवन इफ यू आर स्टडिंग, यू नीड टू स्टडी एट अ प्रॉपर टाइम, तभी आप एग्जाम पास करोगे. अदरवाइज हो सकता है कि एग्जाम पास. Anything that you're doing in your job, in your activity, there are so many sacrifices that has to be made. So similarly in spiritual life, you have to do sacrifices for the ultimate benefit of Krishna consciousness. So are you ready to do that? So I'll just read the purport and then we'll discuss. Any questions till now? Any questions? So I'll just read. So one is sense control. Second is the sacrifice is the yajna that you talk about. So main, if you look at 2 points here, so control of sense enjoyment and control of mind control. These two are discussed in this verse. That is there. So the members of the 4 divisions of human life, namely the brahmachari, the grahastha, the vanaprastha and the sannyasi, are all meant to become perfect yogis or transcendentalists. Since human life is not meant for enjoying sense gratification like the animals, the 4 orders of human life are so arranged that one may become perfect in spiritual life. Now, एक और misconception है भगवद गीता में कि this is only for renunciates. Is it true or false? भगवद गीता सिर्फ जो ब्रह्मचारी है टेम्पल्स में उनके लिए है या जो बहुत ओल्ड लोग हैं उनके लिए? कितने लोग ट्रू बोल रहे? ओके, कितने लोग फॉल्स बोल रहे? या क्योंकि भगवद गीता कहाँ बोली गई थी? हाँ, हिमालय से नहीं बोली गई थी. कुरुक्षेत्र में इन अ बैटलफील्ड व्हेन ही वाज अबाउट टू फाइट, जस्ट बोले जब देख लेता हूँ, आई जस्ट सी द टेरिटरी क्या है, एंड दैट्स वेयर इट वाज गिवन. And that is a message for us कि why it was given that, because it's not for renunciates, it's for everybody to adopt. And that's why this process bhakti yoga is for everybody, and that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How many of you know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Okay, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he gave this chanting or this process of chanting of the holy names of the Lord, so that it's everybody can follow. Otherwise, जो Patanjali yoga system है उसमें you have to go to a forest, and that is possible for anybody here. Or are there forest left? No, so that's why. Okay, now एक important point है before I go. I'm breaking this purport for easy of discussion. Otherwise क्या होगा कि I'll read this then monologue हो जाएगा. So for divisions of life is the brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha and sannyasi. This applies to every human being. So brahmachari is first 25 years of your life where you are studying, acquiring knowledge and all. The second 25 to 50 years of life is your grihastha. Then is your vanaprastha where you start to go away from your material duties. And then the last stage is your sannyasi stage. So these 4 divisions are there. And why this is made? Because every ashram has to know, varna has to know what it has to do. Okay, then I'll just read the purport. The brahmacharis or the students under the care of a bona fide spiritual master control the mind by abstaining from sense gratification. A brahmachari hears only words concerning Krishna consciousness, and hearing is the basic principle for understanding. Therefore, the pure brahmacharis engages fully in Hari Nama Kirtanam, chanting and hearing the glories of the Lord. Ek interesting, when I was preparing for this lecture, ek interesting data point aaya, and which by personal experience also I know कि this happens. कि last sense that goes when you are dying or in your coma or just leaving your body is your hearing that goes. I was surprised to know, but I know by practical example कि होता है कि the last sense जो जाता है when you are leaving your body is your senses. That's why the senses is so, your hearing. So that's why it's so important. Any doctors here? Doctors, medical field? Oh हाँ, yes there. So last sense hearing होता है?
That point I don't know.
I remember my father was passing away, तो last time just होता है, तो I was talking to him, तो he responded to me. मतलब कोमा में थे, but he responded to me, and that's something I know from practical experience कि that's the last thing. body doesn't move, but you respond. आपको पता चलता है कि the patient is responding. That's all. So that's it. I don't know. You can verify it for me. Yeah. Okay. So he restrains himself from the vibrations of material sound, and his hearing is engaged in the transcendental sound vibration of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Similarly, the householders who have sons licensed for sense gratification perform such acts with great restraint. Sex life, intoxication, and meat eating are generally tendencies of human society, but a regulated householder does not indulge in unrestricted sex life and other sense gratification. Marriage on the principles of religious life is therefore current in all civilized human society, because that is the way for restricted self life. The restricted unattached sex life is also a kind of yajna, because the restricted householder sacrifices his general tendency towards sense gratification for higher and transcendental life. Now very important is कि sense engagement में why you have not to be engaged, मतलब not to get pulled into it. Sense gratification में क्यों नहीं pull होना है? Can anybody tell me what's the underlying philosophy behind it? Okay, that's one level. I'm looking at a very deeper level here. It's a very important point. हमको sense gratification में क्यों नहीं पढ़ना चाहिए? Why is said कि इतना restrain करो? And there are many people who मतलब there are many philosophers who talk about this कि नहीं ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. But there is a one very basic thing कि why you have to not get into sense gratification.
Mind overpowers the knowledge that you are actually not the mind, you are this.
Exactly, हाँ. Yeah. And one more level. I'm just going to a very basic point, which is a very basic philosophy of this. हाँ, but that is karma. एक और level नीचे, थोड़ा एकदम basic. I mean, it's not wrong, but it's a very deeper point that I want to say.
I feel that it keeps us away from our purpose.
Yes, थोड़ा सा. It's a point which I think so.
It causes suffering.
वो तो है, मतलब जहाँ पे खुश हो सुख मिलेगा. If you buy, this is just like an example, you buy a new phone, you be very happy. एक साल बाद नया version आ जाता है. How do you feel?
Because we keep center ourselves.
Yeah.
Not the Krishna.
Okay, so just to her point, exactly very similar. We get into bodily platform. And what does bodily platform means? कि मेरे को enjoy करना है. मतलब you get into that body कि मैं body हूँ. Who are we? तो soul को क्या करना चाहिए? What is beneficial for the soul, right? Body is just a covering. So, but when you get into sense enjoyment, तो what happens is कि आप bodily platform में आ जाते हो. Bodily platform में आ जाते हो तो कैसे behave करते हो? Animals जैसा. जब मन कहा ये कर लिया, जब जब whenever you want to do something आप कर लो. Does that help you? जैसे if you have one गुलाब जामुन you will be happy, but if you have 50 गुलाब जामुन क्या होगा? अच्छा लग रहा है ना तो खाए जा रहे हो. Does that help? Right? So वैसे every form of your life if you see unrestricted जहाँ पे भी होते हो ना, it provides you a good damage. So इसलिए वो आपको bodily platform में नहीं आना है when you are practicing spiritual life. That's why you have so many rules and regulations. Because mind का tendency क्या है? Just and unfortunately अभी क्या push किया जा रहा है with the advertisement, just you go out of the temple. So why you feel good in the temple? You are practicing Krishna, sab Krishna, prasadam is there, deities are there, the devotees are talking, they are in a dress, tilak dekh ke haan devotee yaad aata hai. But when you are outside, you don't see them. So you are more focused on bodily. Or advertisers know this very well. इसलिए they come up with very catchy ad. ठंडा मतलब सोचो इतना पुराना ad है, but still whenever I say in this lecture सबसे एकदम instantly निकलता. Why? This is ingrained in your minds. आज जैसे if you are walking and somebody कोई पत्थर गिर जाता है, what do you first thing that you remember subconsciously?
God.
Very good. And बाकी rest of us? Okay. You remember? मतलब कभी ऐसा हुआ तो? Huh? So I was coming from Bangalore, yeah.
Our parents.
Ah yes. Yeah. Very nice. So where you just flight से आ रहा था Bangalore में during the week. So you had some turbulence. It's a good test of consciousness, and especially with what's happened now. तो more passengers, the whole flight becomes a bit worryful कि क्या हो रहा है. So the test हो जाता है कि so that's a good asset test for you कि कभी भी challenges आए, unfortunate events हो गए, जैसे not getting auto, simple as that, और घर से निकले तो बारिश हो रही है, छाता नहीं है. So whom do you remember? Because there is a very interesting case study बोला या the history कि द्रौपदी थी. She had most powerful people protecting her, and when that Dushasan sir साड़ी खींच रहा था, she remembered everybody, but finally when she remembered God, she got the support. Right? She looking at her husband, Bhishma Pitama, elders, कि how can you allow this? But when she remembered Krishna, तो support आया. So that's where the real asset test is. कि आप bodily consciousness में हो कि आप Krishna consciousness में हो. When challenges arise, how do you react to it? Got my point? So try करोगे to keep this as a practice. I remember I've given this example before also, but हम लोग का इधर ना when this new project was being made 2007 में भक्ति शास्त्री होता था in the old building, that is the Brahmachari building that is there. तो construction हो रहा था तो you had things falling normally, कुछ होता था. So we after 3 hours of Bhagavad Gita class, we were coming back for prasadam और ऊपर से पत्थर गिरा. So out of 10 students जो थे क्लास में, एक ने कृष्णा बोला, बाकी ने सब आउच, looking at this, क्या कर रहे हो, ध्यान से करो. होता है कि नहीं? So that's where we remembered कि एक ही जन का conscious was actually Krishna conscious, rest all were I guess struggling or getting towards that path. Agree, disagree होता है? So next time any event, unfortunate event happens, so क्या remember करना है? And how do you remember that? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So that's a very big asset test that you have to go through. So otherwise क्या होगा ना, you will keep forgetting that. Otherwise लगता है हम भक्ति बहुत अच्छे से कर रहे हैं, ये कर रहे हैं, and what happens is subtle ego comes up. So आप ego के लिए भक्ति कर रहे हो. That's not what you want. What is the purpose of chanting holy names? Purification? Anything? What is the purpose?
To remember God.
Yes.
To beg for service.
Beg for service for Krishna?
To chant more.
To chant more. But ultimately किसके लिए? To give pleasure to the Lord. The ultimate objective is कि कृष्णा को pleasure देने के लिए. That is your real thing. So you are not chanting to enhance your ego कि मैं ये कर रहा हूँ, I'm chanting so many rounds or I'm doing this. That is not the purpose. The purpose is to satisfy Krishna. That's the main thing. और क्या हो जाता है, लोग भूल जाते हैं फिर, you forget, and that's everybody, we also forget कि हम कर किस लिए रहे हैं. मैं इतना राउंड्स करता हूँ, बस हो गया. जैसे गोपीज के साथ हुआ था रास डांस में. What happened was, Ras dance was having and every gopi was thinking Krishna is with me, कि Krishna expanded in himself. And फिर क्या होता है, कृष्णा एकदम से जब देखते ईगो बढ़ रहा है तो गायब हो जाते हैं. And what happened with that is, when something of this sort, they become even more keen. They are searching for Krishna like mad. So even जब अभी जगन्नाथ रथ यात्रा is on, so what is that? विप्रलंबा भाव बोलते हैं उसके, कि when there is devotion in separation तो क्या होता है, और intense होता है. And what does Krishna want? Does Krishna wants your money? Your attention? Yes, to some extent. With love, not with ego. With love, कि I'm serving Krishna. Right? Agree, disagree? Can anybody share a story? Just Krishna with love. Yes. Damodar Lila. Anybody knows?
Yes.
So Damodar Lila, just for the benefit of everybody. So Damodar Lila mein what happened? When Yashoda Maiya was beating, he was running. Lord is running and he is captured by rope. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the creator of all the worlds, everybody, and he is being captured by kya? Rope. Why? Because of love. Yes. So by this devotional process, you can actually get Krishna. You can actually have Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he needs your love. An exclusive. That is the most challenging thing. So that's why we have to chant and purify ourselves. Agree, disagree? Any questions here? Yeah.
I have a question to the Varnashram.
Yeah.
Brahmacharya, Sannyas.
Yes.
So someone asked, that अगर ये आश्रम है, so right now you're in Grihast, why are you chanting now? It's your time to devote this thing, your time, effort to your family.
Right.
Why are you doing this now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I gave an answer, but I wasn't sure what
Right.
should I answer in that.
Okay, so being a grahastha doesn't mean कि you go away from your responsibilities. I mean, Arjuna के केस में देखो, from Bhagavad Gita example, what he wanted to do in the battlefield? Become a sannyasi. And Krishna ने क्या बोला उनको? कि surrender to me, fight the battle, and do that as a sacrifice in that sense, right? So for a grahastha also, that doesn't mean you don't do your duties. You do your duties जैसे आप करते रहते हो. Just that you put Krishna in the center. You're feeding your family with food. What do you do? Prasad ki tarah. You offer it to Krishna and then you eat, right? That's what you do. You're earning money for your family. Thoda sa, you serve in Krishna consciousness activity. So if you want to go for a holiday, you can go to various religious places in India and you can spend time there. So you do every activity centered around Krishna, right? And why you're doing this chanting? Because अभी नहीं करोगे तो old age में नहीं होगा. Because it's a habit. Chanting is a habit. How many of you feel कि आपके morning में rounds नहीं हुए तो your day becomes very bad? हुआ है experience? The whole day becomes very difficult. And अगर if you go, if you come to the temple or do your rounds very well, your day becomes very smooth. So that's a very common thing to have. So इसलिए, so as a grahastha, your job is to do, have Krishna in the center. So ideally grahastha के लिए deity worship बोला गया, but then for today's world, Prabhupada said, if possible करो, नहीं है तो come to the temple as often as you can. Because very grand deity worship is happening here. Your job is to attend any of the aartis. So that's how it is. Anything else जो किसी ने पूछा था आपका कि उसमें बहुत कुछ होता है? Right. Yeah. Right.
But that time of 2-3 hours per day, you can do that extra time, your kids, you can rest, you can do this. Everybody just keeps saying this to me. You are still in Grihastha. Abhi time nahi hai, baad mein you do.
Okay. अच्छा, so there's something, so there's specific case for you कि people say कि if you get to that extra 2-3 hours जो chanting में देते हो, तो उसका क्या करोगे? So you will watch Netflix जो typical है, या phones देखोगे. Right. It's whether some people there are other reasons they don't want to do it, तो guilty feeling आता है. I've seen this. Devotee के साथ कोई रहता है ना, तो there's a guilty feeling that comes around कि I'm not doing this, I'm very religious है, and you'll see people also, आपके साथ भी experience होगा. Right. And some just out of guilt consciousness कि नहीं, we are also very religious and all, इसलिए हम भी करते हैं, होता है that people could say that. But then that's very natural to have, because if you save time ना, for 100% for sure, वो कहीं ना कोई waste हो जाएगा. You'll join some activity, watch some Netflix or something of that sort, and you'll waste your time. So because of devotion, we become efficient actually, because you're more concentrated and your work is much better. And why it's much better? There is a very important thing. In fact, somebody was discussing with me, not a point of discussion, but एक interesting चीज़ है कि हम जो डिवोशनल एक्टिविटी करते हैं उसमें व्हाट हैपेंस टू योर माइंड? माइंड कंट्रोल होता है. आई एम लुकिंग फॉर अ वर्ड, दैट्स व्हाई पीसफुल काम. सो दैट्स अ स्टेबल माइंड. व्हेन यू वर्क विद अ स्टेबल माइंड, व्हाट हैपेंस?
We don't know how to do and we don't know what we are doing.
Okay. So with stable mind, what happens is you do your work more efficiently, more productive for the same amount of time. जैसे यार कोई जल्दी जल्दी भाग भाग के काम करे तो क्या होता है, बिगड़ता ही है ना. I had this, I worked on a presentation पूरा almost like 10 o'clock in the office, और मैंने सेव करना भूल गया and the computer hanged. So I have to do it 2 hours again. So why? Because you are under pressure, late nights हो रहा है, you want to finish your job and more message clear. That's why stable mind is very important, even in your chanting also. When you chant, when you say you want to chant in the morning, it is not that कि आपका chanting morning में आप कर सकते हो अच्छा अगर आपने रात को prepare नहीं किया हो. You know, if you have not prepared in the night कि I want to chant good rounds, I want to listen to the Maha Mantra, and then you plan your day. वरना क्या होता है जब chanting करोगे तो हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे. फिर क्या याद आएगा? अरे ये काम याद है, ये काम बाकी है, ओहो दिस इज हैज टू बी डन. उस दिन का काम याद आएगा. होता है? यू विल रिमेंबर एवरीथिंग एक्सेप्ट कृष्णा इफ यू डोंट प्रिपेयर योर राउंड्स. एंड आफ्टर राउंड्स के बाद भी आप जो चाहे वो करो, ऐसा नहीं होता है. यू हैव टू लिव योर लाइफ इन अ वेरी कंट्रोल्ड मैनर. द रीजन इज तभी आप नेक्स्ट डे चैंटिंग अच्छे से कर सकते हो. ना चैंटिंग कर लिया फिर जो मन में आए किया, वापस नेक्स्ट डे चैंट करना है, यू विल सी दिस विल नॉट वर्क. It's very, very important to have a stable mind across the day. Agree, disagree? Because those who are in management will understand कि इतने decisions लेने पड़ते हैं कि then you have to have a very stable mind. अगर एकदम cluttered mind रहा, you cannot do anything properly. And that's why इसलिए ना in management you will see a lot of management studies around it. कि you have a decluttered mind, have a clear-cut thinking because of this reason. Because with a steady mind only you can do bhakti. And that's why बोलते कि you know hear Krishna Katha as often as, chant करो, come to the temple at least once. This is the reason for that. You'll have a very stable mind. I hope that answers Mataji for you. Anybody else has a question? Anything else? How many of you are chanting 16 rounds? 8 rounds? 4? So, that's good. So try this, yeah.
What kind of preparation to do in the night for the next morning?
So first thing is कि have a very clear cut plan for next day कि क्या क्या करना है. So you can't, Rome was not built in a day. So जो आपके activities करने हैं write down कर लो. Because mind का morning में देखा गया है कि at least my personal experience is कि it keeps thinking about during the day क्या क्या करना है. You know, have to send a reminder, ये सब लिख लो. And just hear about some Krishna Katha या Japa motivation, you know, something of that sort. There are books, there are many things available now on the net. Just read about it. The glories of the holy name or glories of Krishna. And then you sleep at a proper time. If you sleep, say you should sleep at 9:30 to 10, typically, ideally. जैसे वृंदावन जाते हो तो anyways everything is closed by 9. So you can sleep by 10 very peacefully. But Bombay में, you know, things are open till 2, 3. So you don't do that. Don't see a very, you know, कोई ऐसा heavy चीज during the night, if you have a choice. So then you can prepare yourself much better for the next day. जैसे last half an hour of a day, you can listen to a Prabhupada lecture or any other lecture that you like on Krishna consciousness. So it prepares you for next day if you have time. Otherwise क्या होगा कि if you don't read or read a book and then sleep, then your mind is Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, if you are not doing that now, then you will not be Krishna consciousness. I hope that. Any other tips somebody can share? Chanting pe? Krishna ki story. So anything related to bhakti, last, remember Krishna, remember Radha Ras Bihari, remember Vrindavan Dham, Mayapur Dham, Puri Dham. Mentally you can go there. And that's the best thing. So then you are prepared for the next day for chanting. Or morning mein fir time se uth jana, don't rush, have your activity. That's how you can do. And you should know why you are chanting. कभी कभी क्या मैकेनिकल चैंटिंग हो जाती है कि आप बोर मार रहा है, आई एम लुकिंग हियर एंड देयर एंड चैंटिंग, एंड दैट्स वेरी नेचुरल टू हैपन बिकॉज माइंड इज नॉट यूज्ड टू कंस्टेंट, एंड स्पेशली इन द मॉडर्न वर्ल्ड अटेंशन स्पैन हैज गॉन डाउन सो मच बिकॉज ऑफ सोशल मीडिया, शॉर्ट्स की वजह से. यू वांट 30 सेकेंड्स 40 सेकेंड्स में एवरीथिंग हैपनिंग, एंड यू आर डिस्कसिंग ऑल्सो. अभी ब्लिंकेट और ये सब आ गए तो 10 मिनट में सब घर में आ जाता है. सो यू आर नॉट यूज्ड टू दैट पेशेंस ऑफ And if you go to a hill station or something, so if you want to take something basic also, you have to walk so much, get it, come back. That is coming down for humans. So we also want fatafat results by chanting. So that has to be taken care of. Yes, Manoj.
What about listening to someone like Premanand Maharaj or something like
Yeah, devotees you can listen to. But we recommend obviously ISKCON because the mood will be different. Because we are coming in a lineage, so that's why. But you can listen to devotees. Because you can listen about Tukaram Maharaj is there and other So that is there. But we recommend obviously reading Prabhupada books because the mood would be the same, and that is there. वरना क्या होता है, hot gurus होते हैं and you never know. Anybody else has a question? I'll take the next person. अच्छा, I have a question for everybody. भगवद गीता को चैप्टर्स ने किसने डिवाइड किया? कृष्णा ने तो ऐसा नहीं बोला होगा ना, चैप्टर नंबर 1, नाउ आई कम टू चैप्टर नंबर 2 एंड नाउ कम टू चैप्टर नंबर 3, नाउ चैप्टर नंबर 4. Who divided that? Yes. वेद व्यास, he has written the Mahabharata, तो he, yeah.
पहले भगवान ने वो पूरी स्टोरी बताई और फिर उसके बाद जब टाइम बटेगा तब वो चैप्टर.
हाँ, तो उन्होंने भगवद गीता बताई महाभारत के बीच में. तो उसको जब दिखा गया ना, वेद व्यास जी ने बद्रीनाथ में जगह है. सो बद्रीनाथ से देयर इज 3 किलोमीटर अवे, जैसे माना गांव करके है, तो वहां पे गणेश गुफा है एंड वेद व्यास गुफा है. सो देयर द महाभारत हैज बीन रिटन. और उसमें वो या
फीलिंग कंफर्टेबल इन सोफा.
ओके, यू सिट देयर. सॉरी माय सन, यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड किड्स है जिसके. तो ओके, आई विल रीड द वर्स. सर्वाणि इंद्रिय कर्माणि प्रण कर्मणि का परे आत्मसंयम योगानु जुहति ज्ञान दीपिते. सर्वाणि of all, indriya the senses, karmani functions, prana karmani functions of life breath, also apare others, atma samyana of controlling the mind, yoga the linking process, aganu in the fire of juvati offer jnana dipite because of the urge for self realization. Translation: others who are interested in achieving self realization through the control of the mind and the senses offers the function of all the senses and of the life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. So here we are talking about control of the breath, sorry, through the mind and the senses, through life breath. तो ये पतंजलि योग का process है. You know, there is a process which you can control the breath. But the problem here is कि can we practice pranayama? प्राणायाम मतलब प्रॉपर प्राणायाम है, नॉट यू कैन प्रैक्टिस बट नॉट द प्रॉपर एकदम वे, क्योंकि उसमें 3 घंटा पहले कुछ खाना नहीं है. यू नो द मेनी रिस्ट्रिक्शन दैट इज देयर. एंड एज पर आयुर्वेदा, बॉडी में एनी डिजीज दैट हैपेंस ड्यू टू इम्बैलेंस ऑफ द एयर्स दैट आर देयर, प्राण वायु जो होते हैं आपके. सो व्हेन यू गो टू आयुर्वेदिक डॉक्टर प्रैक्टिशनर, ही विल चेक कि आपके एयर्स क्या है बॉडी में, कि व्हाट इज डूइंग दैट, एंड ही ट्राइज टू फाइंड आउट दैट कि वेयर इज द मिसबैलेंस इज देयर. सो जो योगा सिस्टम होता है उसमें एयर कंट्रोल का ज़्यादा होता है. एंड आई टेल यू व्हाई, एंड आई कैन गिव यू अ डेमो. करेंगे? हाउ इज योर माइंड? सबका इज डिस्टर्ब्ड, इज काम, कैसा है? ओके, ना एक एक्सपेरिमेंट करते हैं लाइव, ये ब्रेथ का है. जस्ट होल्ड योर ब्रेथ फॉर एज लॉन्ग एज पॉसिबल एंड सी व्हाट हैपेंस टू योर माइंड. So I'll give you a minute. Try it. Hold करना है, मतलब छोड़ना मत. उसके बाद बताना क्या होता है माइंड में. What thoughts you get? Okay, हो गया? So when you hold your breath, what happens? Your focus becomes only on getting the air. होता है? Are you thinking any other thoughts? जब end में होगा आपका, जब when you just अब छोड़ो, सांस छोड़ो, That is the power of this. Ki, you actually don't think about anything else. Your mind is controlled. That's why special forces में एक टेक्निक होती है बॉक्स ब्रीथिंग करके, 4 in 4 होल्ड, 4 आउट 4 आउट ब्रेथ में होल्ड. तो इससे क्या होता है, योर माइंड बिकम्स सो मच फोकस्ड बिकॉज ब्रेथ का डायरेक्ट कनेक्शन किसे माइंड से है. देन दैट्स वाई इफ यू लुक एट ध्रुव महाराज, तो लास्ट में ही वॉज इवन कंट्रोलिंग हिज ब्रेथ फॉर लॉन्ग पीरियड्स ऑफ टाइम. वाई दिस हैपेंस इज बिकॉज ब्रेथ का डायरेक्ट कनेक्शन है माइंड से. When somebody is really holding your breath, ना आपको कुछ समझ, you'll not worry about anything else, just getting that air, and your mind is controlled. That's what yogis try to do. अगर जो practicing yogis है, वो breath से अपना mind control करते हैं, because otherwise mind कैसा रहता है, वो create करता है. But when you do this, you'll just think about the breath. वापस जब normal हो जाएगा breath, then you again think about all your problems in the world. But for that moment, you only think about your life. So that's how the breath is connected with your mind. और main problem क्या है आपका? The controlling the mind. Agree, disagree? Because in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, कि इस said कि mind से you feel happiness, you feel distress. It's a function of the mind. And your mind को जब तक आप control नहीं करेंगे, you can't make progress in spiritual life. Because it's very difficult. Your mind से ही आपको, you'll be delivered, you will not be delivered. That's the, it's your greatest friend and it is greatest enemy. That is Krishna is saying to Arjuna. और माइंड को कंट्रोल कैसे करोगे? By putting it in a control. Power of habits और ये सब बुक्स जो है, they why they talk about forming a habit, because then it's very natural for you. And उसके लिए क्या लगता है? Practice. And that's why you got to keep chanting. और ये सब प्रभुपाद जी ने जो प्रोसेस दिया है, मंगल आरती, then you have the chanting, then Srimad Bhagavatam, Shingar Aarti, and the whole day that is there. So we cannot attend as grahasthas, we cannot attend the daily program. But एक चीज़ कर सकते हो आप, कि जैसे अगर सपोज 7 o'clock है, 7:15 in the morning है, you can at least remember कि मंदिर में क्या हो रहा है, श्रृंगार आरती हो रही है. So you can sing that. फिर नरसिंह देव आरती, गुरु पूजा हो रही है. Then भागवतम क्लास है तो you can just remember भागवतम क्लास हो रही है. If you have time, you can listen to भागवतम क्लास. ऐसा करके यू कैन हैव अ फुल डे शेड्यूल. 12 बजे राजभोग आती है. सो क्या होता है, यू आर कनेक्टेड विद कृष्णा होल डे. अग्री इट्स डिफिकल्ट टू डू, इजी टू डू. देन इवनिंग में गौर आरती है, यू कैन जस्ट रिमेंबर दिस. सो देन व्हाट हैपेंस इज आपका दिन का शेड्यूल पूरा प्लान हो जाता है. एंड इट्स वेरी इजी टू रिमेंबर कृष्णा. होगा, यू कैन जस्ट कीप अ अलार्म ऑल्सो कि 7 o'clock गौर आरती है. सो वेर एवर यू आर इन द वर्ल्ड, यू गेट कनेक्टेड. क्या गौर आरती है तो कैन सिंग गौर आरती और कैन लिसन टू इट, वॉट एवर. आइडियली सिंग इज मच बेटर. सो देन यू रिमेंबर कृष्णा. तो दैट्स ऑल. 9 o'clock टेम्पल बंद होता है तो यू एटलीस्ट रिमेंबर कि टेम्पल इज गेटिंग क्लोज्ड, शयन आरती है. हो सकता है? पॉसिबल? डिफिकल्ट टू डू? So even if you can't come to the temple, you can remember. And वही केवल है कि somehow the other you should remember Krishna. Objective हमारा यही है कि कि कृष्णा को रिमेंबर करना है. अजामिला का स्टोरी याद है? So अजामिला ने अपने बेटे का नाम नारायण नारायण रखा था. And he didn't remember Narayan. He was calling his son Narayan. And still Narayan, Narayan Dut came. Huh? Vishnu Dut, sorry. Vishnu Dut came. And so that's how. So that's the power of the holy name. So our objective is to remember Krishna at all times. And these techniques you can use to remember Krishna. Easy or difficult? So we are at 6 o'clock. We close or? Huh? 10 minutes. Okay, I'll read the purport. The yoga system conceived by Patanjali is referred to herein in the Yoga Sutra Patanjali. The soul is called Pratyagya Atma and Parag Atma. As long as the soul is attached to sense enjoyment, it is called Parag Atma. But as soon as the same soul becomes detached from the sense enjoyment, it is called Pratyag Atma. The soul is subject to functions of 10 coins of air at work within the body, and this is perceived through the breathing system. But on just a feedback, कुछ हुआ, मतलब mind control हुआ, कौन disturb कौन feel कर रहा था? You can hold your breath for more longer, so then the disturbance will go down. हुआ माता जी कौन थी? Yeah, but then yeah, you can do. Okay, so the Patanjali system of yoga instruct one how to control the functions of the body air in a technical manner so that ultimately all the functions of the air within become favorable for purifying the soul of material attachment. In fact, I was also doing interesting, curious for more theology study कि Buddhists के they have meditation centers at very high. The monks they meditate at Ladakh 4,000 feet. And even Everest base camp में भी जाते हुए देखा है कि there are some monasteries. तो होता क्या है उधर एयर थिन होती है, तो योर माइंड इज मच मोर कामर नेचुरली. जैसे जस्ट इमेजिन आप केदारनाथ के लिए ट्रैक कर रहे हो, दैट्स अ 21 किलोमीटर ट्रैक. व्हाट प्रॉब्लम्स कैन यू थिंक ऑफ? मतलब ऊपर पहुंचने का और नीचे उतरने का, उससे ज़्यादा काम नहीं करता है. दैट हैपेंस इन द हिमालयस. सो आई वाज डूइंग दिस ट्रैक जिधर लक्ष्मण का पहला बर्थ, व्हेन लक्ष्मण जी उसमें अवतार क्या था, किसके अवतार थे लक्ष्मण जी? आई जस्ट फॉरगॉट. शेषनाग के. तो शेषनाग के रूप में जहाँ पे तपस्या किया था वहाँ पे देयर इज अ फेमस सिख प्लेस ऑल्सो, हेमकुंड साहिब बोलते हैं. सो इट वाज लाइक अ 21 किलोमीटर ट्रैक, बट लास्ट 7 किलोमीटर्स वर अ स्टीप इंक्लाइन ऑफ 70 डिग्रीज. मतलब यू टेक 4 स्टेप्स एंड यू आर गॉन. उसमें वो चढ़ते समय उतरते समय जस्ट यू रिमेंबर दैट ओनली. और लक्ष्मण जी ने शेषनाग पे वहाँ पे तपस्या की थी एंड इट्स स्टिल देयर. It's a very tedious trek, but जब आप ट्रैक करते हैं you don't remember anything else. You just remember कि you remember भगवान, और the whole atmosphere is nice and that's it. So that is there. So when you do this kind of, इसलिए हिमालयस में, अपर हिमालयस में monks when they do, because air is thin, तो you are just fighting with the basic things. तो आपको क्या बोलते हैं, फर्स्ट लेवल के प्रॉब्लम्स नहीं आते. जैसे टू टेक अ कार्ड और अ मेट्रो, और जो अपने प्रॉब्लम्स है कि लिफ्ट से आना, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी गई, एयर कंडीशन काम नहीं कर रहा, द फर्स्ट लेवल ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स, दैट इज नॉट देयर. आई होप यू गॉट द पॉइंट. द पतंजलि सिस्टम ऑफ योगा इंस्ट्रक्ट्स वन हाउ टू कंट्रोल द फंक्शंस ऑफ द बॉडी एयर इन अ टेक्निकल मैनर सो दैट अल्टीमेटली ऑल द फंक्शंस ऑफ द एयर विद इन become favorable for purifying the soul of material attachment. According to this yoga system, Pratyag Atma is the ultimate goal. The Pratyag Atma is the withdrawn from the activities in matter. The senses interact with the sense objects like the ear for hearing, eyes for seeing, nose for smelling, tongue for tasting and hand for touching. And all of them are thus engaged in activities outside the self. They are called the functions of Prana Vayu. The Apana Vayu goes downwards, Vayana Vayu acts to shrink and expand, Samana Vayu adjusts equilibrium, and Udana Vayu goes upwards. And one is enlightened, one engage all these in searching for self-realization. So basically all the airs in your body try to push it up. उसको बंद बोलते हैं, and there are many जो Himalayan yogis करते हैं ये practice, where they try to push the air upward through the skull. That's the practice that is there, but that is very difficult for us. Because उसमें you do a long hours of we can't chant also properly. तो ये सब practices करना it's very very difficult. So for us what Prabhupada has recommended is surrendering everything to Krishna. And what do you mean by surrendering everything to Krishna? Your time, energy in Krishna. और ऐसा नहीं कि you have to leave everything and just serve in the temple. That is if you get a chance it's best. But नहीं है तो you can arrange your day in such a way कि you keep remembering Krishna. So जैसे it's a very common example. कि Krishna says I am taste in the water. So anytime you are drinking any drink, you can remember that is Krishna. So water में taste होता है क्या? So that taste is Krishna. That's 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So you can always remember that. अगर कुछ नहीं याद होता है temple का daily activities or what's happening, so you can just remember that कि Krishna is the taste in the water. So you'll remember how many times Krishna? At least 10 times. So that's how. So that's how we can adjust our life. So any other questions? So okay, so we close the session. Online, any questions? Online, any questions? Jai. Hare Krishna. Sure. So we close the session by loudly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. शिला प्रभुपाद की चलो आगे।
Hare Krishna. So we'd like to express our gratitude to today's Acharya group for taking such a wonderful class by loudly chanting Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। शिला प्रभुपाद की